I said, Jermaine like to introduce his current bitch to the next bitch. Bitch, this is who's going to replace you. This right here. Well, hello, y'all. It's Nay here. We still working on this book. What's the name of this book, y'all? We still working on this damn book. It's a mother hunchy. It's full of havoc and melee. We still working on it. And we still got a bunch of more crap to do. Okay? But while you listening, open up another window and go on over there to uptopbeauty.com and check out these JT RZA shades, y'all. Hey, we ain't got no money left. Okay, I can dig it because I ain't got no money left either. That's why the hell I say go on over there to uptopbeauty.com and check something out over there. Okay. Now, let's get back to Jackson Family Values, Memories of Madness by Margaret, who we lovingly call Peggy, Maldonado, Nada Jackson. Jermaine wanted Leah along on the trip because she spoke 5 languages and all the negotiations were being done in French. Now, pause. What I didn't tell y'all before was that, Jermaine liked to introduce his women's to the next bitch. One day, Jermaine had randomly took Peggy to this man, I forget the man house or the woman house, but the bongo house. And Peggy like, why we at the bongo house? What's going on? She said the whole atmosphere was strange to her, but nonetheless, her and Leah Bongo created a love-hate off and on relationship. Jermaine wanted Leah along on the trip because she spoke 5 languages and all the negotiations were being done in French. Taking Leah along wasn't as simple as it sounded, though. Leah had gotten into trouble with her half-sister, Madam. According to Madam, Leah had taken her American Express card without permission and shopped up and down Rodeo Drive. Madam was not pleased when the total topped $10,000, and she wasted little time in letting Leah know, I'm about to get you. Madam was not pleased when the total topped $10,000, and she wasted little time in letting Leah know it. Madam was a strict disciplinarian who was used to running an entire country. It didn't take much to get her upset. Leah had managed to do the job really well. Oh, stealing will do. When we spoke to Leah on the telephone, she would come up with horrendous stories of abuse at the hands of Madam. No, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm about to sit there and let my sister beat my Leah ass. Had allegedly stolen thousands of dollars, and now the Jacksons were helping her to leave the country. It had all the elements of another adventure with a disastrous end. If nothing else, Madam would simply disown Leah, making her our responsibility. You mean Michael's responsibility, girl? You don't pay no bills. Michael paying all the damn bills, girl. If nothing else, Madam would simply disown Leah, making her our responsibility for life, maybe. The more I tried to talk sense to him, the more he dug his heels in. The following weekend, JJ, Leah, and I took off to Switzerland. Let me tell you something. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Ooh, street life. It's the only life I know. Street life. Baby, let me tell you what this Leah was doing. Peggy, so blind, she don't know what the heck is going on. So they out there in Switzerland, right? Leah got a room connecting to Peggy's and JJ's room. Leah sitting around moping. She said she by herself. Jermaine got Peggy thinking she's sad because of the fact that she has nowhere to go. She done stole this money from her sister. She's lost and turned out. So dumbass Peggy is like, it seems like the only time Leah is ever happy is when she's with Jermaine. I'll let them spend time together. She said It was so bad that when her and Jermaine, meaning Peggy and Jermaine, retired to their suite that was connected to Leah's suite, Peggy said she could hear the girl in the other room crying to herself. Peggy feel bad for her. I told her that if she couldn't remain in the United States with Madam, perhaps we could find a way for her to live at the Jackson compound or in her own apartment. I was trying to be a friend. Once we were back in California, life quickly returned to standard lunacy at the Jackson compound. Cirque du Soleil. Leah was on the telephone to Cirque du Soleil from the moment we crossed the threshold. Jermaine spent hours counseling the girl long distance, on Michael's dime perhaps, because you know the hussy was calling collect. Okay, some of y'all probably like, what the hell is collect? That means the other person paid. I was working on a miniseries and we were starting to cast the parts. The first crises hit when Reby announced that she wanted to play the part of her mother. Reby is a beautiful woman and a wonderful singer. An actress she is not. But Suzanne DePass and Stan Margelis wanted to give her every opportunity to show what she could do. An audition was arranged and Reby came to our offices to read. Reby wasn't the only one in the family who had her eyes on the role of Catherine. Victoria, Jackie's girlfriend of the moment, also had her heart set on the part. A girlfriend? Jackie's girlfriend? Then Angela Bassett came in to read for the role, and it was like a tank rolling over a row of motorcycles. We ain't got to read no further on that because we already know that was outstanding. The part went to Angela. Reby had to settle for her profit participation, just like all the other family members. Victoria got a role as an extra, and I concentrated on the hardest job of all, casting the kids who would play the young Jacksons. We thought it would be wonderful if we could work some of the real Jackson grandchildren into the miniseries, perhaps their parents or aunts and uncles at various times in their lives. Since there were 18 grandchildren, we thought it was a distinct possibility, but child, it didn't work. Okay, I'm about to break it down in a minute. But it was the fact that just nobody took it for serious. I think that the Jackson grandchildren just felt so entitled to the fact that they were children that they could just step into the role, or they just had other stuff to do. They're teenagers. They're not taking anything for serious. Dee Dee and Tito's kids, Taj, Terrell, and TJ, weren't interested and never came to the audition. Neither did Yashi and Stacy, Reby's kids. Reby's son, Austin, did show up, but wasn't hired because I knew I couldn't depend on Reby, who is always late. Because Reby is late all the time. Peggy couldn't depend on Reby to get the kids there. Time is money, girl. And Reby don't have no respect for time, child. Oh, and she gonna drop a little bit more tea about that Reby, y'all. Oh my God, this book's so damn juicy. Jackie's son, Siggy, wasn't selected because his mother, Enid, was in an emotional turmoil attempting to collect child support, and as a result, I couldn't depend on Siggy's availability during the entire shoot. Jermaine's daughter, Autumn, would have been great for a role, but she had already been asked by her Aunt Janet to portray her in the feature film Poetic Justice, which Janet was doing for director John Singleton. Really? Marlon and Carl didn't want their children, Brittany, Valencia, and Marlon Jr., anywhere near the project. Alejandra bought her daughter, Genevieve, but she was too young. So were Jeremy, Jordan, and Jamie. They were all unable to take direction. The only Jackson child who was cast was Jermaine Jr., who was to play his father, and that caused trouble. The rest of the family thought he was picked because Jermaine and I were producing. It wasn't true. His audition was excellent. The job of casting a little Michael Jackson was the toughest of all. We looked for weeks, but to no avail. Finally, Michael's office called and informed us they were sending over a boy to audition for the part. Child, why they send over a little white boy? But it was a trick of boo-boo. That wasn't true. It was some crazy white lady who called there and was like, yeah, Michael said he got somebody. It's my son. Okay, well, bring him on over. When we scheduled an audition for the boy, we were shocked to walk into our office waiting room to discover that he was white. As it turned out, the boy's mother had called Michael's office and arranged for the meeting without Michael's knowledge. It was Suzanne DePass who came through by discovering a talented boy named Jason Weaver to play Michael during the Jackson 5 period. Let me tell you something. I am a huge fan of Jason Weaver. Mufasa's son, Simba. Oh, that little motherfucker can get it. I mean, he just regular, y'all. And then I was so happy to see him play in The Chi. So let's start from the beginning, okay? We had him being Michael Jackson. And then, I don't know what came first. What was that show? Was it Smart Guy? With T and Tamara's little brother? Oh, it seemed like and then he did a couple of movies, right? Not A movies, but maybe C or B. Okay. And then he just dropped off. But luckily, his mother was so about his business that little boy is going to get paid for the Lion King forever. You hear me? Forever. I guess his mammy was like, oh no. What happened to the real Jacksons is not about to happen to my son. And I was so happy to see him playing in The Chi with his little chunky self. You a big boy now, Jason Weaver. Mm-hmm. It was Susan DePass who came through by discovering a talented boy named Jason Weaver to play Michael during the Jackson 5 period. Alex Burrell and Wiley Draper portrayed him at other ages. A wonderful singer, Jason. And didn't Jason Weaver have an album out or something? Or a single out? Man, Jason Weaver, man, that little boy is young man, is very underrated. He the most regular, smegular dude that you would ever get with. Like I love it. Like by God's sake, he's the Lion King. A wonderful singer, Jason, wound up doing some of the vocals in the miniseries. Although for the most part, we used Michael's voice.
That Elton John came to the set for whatever reason, I guess to come check out the set and check out what we were doing just out of curiosity. And on this particular day, I'd already pre-recorded this song, and usually what they do, whether it's on videos or whether they have music in a film, it'll be pre-recorded and then they'll give you a playback on set where you can just lip sync. Thank you. So for some odd reason, the playback that day, I guess because it had been worn out from all the other scenes that we had been doing, it wasn't working. But the only thing that was working was like the track, but the vocal playback wasn't working. So our director, Karen Arthur, came up to me and she said, Jason, we got to get this scene done, but I'm sorry, I'm afraid you're going to have to sing this live. And you probably are going to be singing all day because, you know, this is the only scene that we're going to be doing today. And so I just began to sing, and I think it was during my lunch break. That's when my mother approached me and she said, yo, you know who Elton John is? And I was like, you know, the Benny and the Jets guy. Like, that's really all I knew. And like Rocket Man, but that was it. She said, well, yeah, he was just here on set and he left, but he's doing something with Disney called The Lion King, and he's writing the music, and he wants you to come in and audition, you know, for this role of this lion cub and sing the song. And so I was like, yeah, tell him I'll audition. Tell him I'll do it. And went to Disney and auditioned. And then that's when Disney kept me there for like another week after that. And I recorded, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, Hakuna Matata.
This would be Jermaine's big leap into a career in producing, now that he had declared he was no longer an artist. He was remarkably detached, however, from almost every element of the miniseries. Your lost nigga. His main concern seemed to be Leah, who was still in Africa. Jermaine was talking to her even more than he did when she lived in Beverly Hills. He complained to me that I wasn't being a very good friend to this girl and that I should take a more active interest in her well-being. His rationale totally escaped me, but for the sake of family harmony, I acquiesced and spoke with her the next time she called. It would later turn out to be one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life. Yeah, girl. Say what you will about Pittsburgh. I think the town has gotten a bad rap. The production company could not have asked for a warmer reception and harder workers than what we found there when we arrived to begin shooting on the Jacksons and American Dream. As production progressed, our stars quickly formed a cohesive team that made each workday an enjoyable experience. Lawrence Hilton Jacobs did an incredible job portraying Joseph, showing both his dedication and his downside. Angela Bassett literally became Katherine Jackson. She limped, she reacted, she chewed her cheek in perfect duplication of the original. Now, let me tell you something. You know you got Katherine there, that dramatical bitch. Remember when Katherine was on the set of The Wiz and she thought that the Wicked Witch Eveline was about to saw Michael Jackson's real body in half, when for real it was old dummy? And she was like, oh, get my son over there. Here she go. On the set of the Jacksons, you know, Angela Bassett and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, they getting into it. Katherine into it, because Angela Bassett is cussing his ass out, giving him the nigga. Katherine on standby like this. Get him, Angela. That's right. You get his ass. Get him, girl. Get him. That's what you should have did. Katherine. There was no greater compliment for Angela than the day Katherine stood mesmerized on the set as she thought she was seeing herself in a dream. Vanessa Williams was portraying Suzanne DePass, and when Barry Gordy heard that, he said, you had better get the other Williams to play me. He was referring, of course, to Billy D, who not only got the role, but was a joy to watch. Jermaine and I had gotten a condo with room for Jeremy, Jordan, and Jermaine Jr. I had given my nanny, Heidi, a 4-week vacation and hired a friend of Reeby's named LaWanda Lane to take Heidi's place on the road. Let me tell you about this LaWanda. This LaWanda was letting Peggy know, Katherine ain't your friend. That ain't your friend. She talk about you all the time. Don't speak about her highly. She don't like you, bitch. That ain't your friend. LaWanda told me that Katherine would make cracks about my relationship with Jermaine that were not too flattering. Margaret's not used to money, Katherine told Reeby and LaWanda. She doesn't come from money like Hazel. In fact, that's why she's with Jermaine. She thinks he's got money. Peggy like, what? He got money. If we had money, why the fuck are we living here with you in Cirque du Soleil? I know your son ain't got money. I'm only with him because he's the father of my sons. And I love him. Girl, love don't pay the bills. Love don't buy Pampers. The words were more than untrue. They hurt. After his money, Jermaine was broke. On top of that, if I hadn't stayed up nights trying to stretch $1 6 ways, he would have been a deadbeat dad as well. I realized for the first time that the close relationship I thought I had forged with Katherine was like everything else in the Jackson family, an illusion created for a purpose. Midway through our shooting schedule, Hazel was invited to Pittsburgh. Who invited her?
No.